Today I'm breaking down the exact difference between a $10,000 a month freelancer and a $100,000 a month agency.
And I've been on both sides of this, from being a freelancer working 16-hour days inside of my apartment to scaling my agency to over $200,000 a month, and now it runs without me. And the difference isn't talent, it is systems. Let me show you the 4 critical systems that separate freelancers from agencies and how these can transform your business. So the first thing that I want to hit on is going to be our offer. So what a freelancer does, they tend to say yes to everything. Any project, anything that comes across the table. I remember when I first started my agency, I would say yes to anything because all I wanted to do was just make an income and get some money for my agencies. Another thing is custom work. When it comes to offers, a lot of freelancers are offering just custom work. They're really just asking the clients what they want, and they're giving the client control over the deliverables that are going to happen. And now the freelancer is positioned basically as an order taker, and they're doing custom work, which is really just trying to scale the unscalable. When it came to like pricing, it was very much like an hourly or like a project-based pricing where, oh, we're gonna do 8 videos for you. We're gonna charge by the video because you are valuing yourself based off of the actual deliverable. And this is a trap that a lot of people get into because you are basically on the leash of what you're actually delivering to the client, and to them, you're just seen as a commodity rather than what a marketing agency should be, which is actually someone of value. Another thing that a lot of freelancers do is they make themselves the product. A lot of freelancers, they start monetizing their skill sets. And the problem with this is that when you're just monetizing your skill sets, you're not looking at your business as an actual business. You're looking at your business as you being the product. And that is a trap that positions freelancers as the bottleneck to growth because they're just thinking the more I sell, the more I do, the more money that we're going to make, rather than looking at business as what it is, which is a system. And last but not least, and I kind of hit on this before, but clients dictate what we're going to do. A lot of clients think that they know what they want, but what they really want is a specific outcome. And what I used to do a ton is I would jump on sales calls or talk to potential clients, and I'd say, what is it that you want to do to scale your business? What is it that you're looking for? And basically, I would just take what they want and do what they want, which just left me in the trap of being that freelancer. So how do we transition from a freelancer to an agency? Well, first things first is not saying yes to everything, and we have a productized solution. We want to have it be positioned as a solution to the client's problems, and we need to productize it. It is so hard to scale anything that is just saying yes to everything. I mean, I remember when I first started my agency, I would say yes to everything, and guess who got the brunt of that? It was the people that had to fulfill. And it was always a mess fulfilling because there was no process, and because I had the skill sets, I expected my team to do it. It wasn't until we started to productize our offer, come up with streamlined packages, that we were able to really scale past that $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 per month mark in retainers only. Next, we have outcome-driven offers. We have to think about this. We are a marketing agency, and clients are coming to us not for deliverables, but they're coming for an outcome. So what we have to do as marketers is take off our freelancing hat, look at our marketing company as basically providing a solution to a customer, and come up with an offer that actually provides outcomes to customers, not just a deliverable. We need to make sure our offer is outcome driven and it gets them what they truly want, which is more business at the end of the day. Then when it comes to pricing, this is based off of value. The transition that we need to make when going from a freelancer to agency is we need to think, what's everything that I can do to get my client to the outcome, one, and if the outcome is something that they actually want, which hopefully will make them more money at the end of the day, or allow them to get more leads, or there's some financial gain so that you can actually justify your price, how can I position my pricing to be more value-based versus, oh, we're gonna do 8 videos, it's $100 per video, or whatever your pricing is. Well, you have an outcome-driven offer, and based off of the value that you're providing to your customer, not hours, not how much time you're spending with them, but how much money they're making, then you're able to charge 2, 3, 4 times more than what you would do if you're just charging hourly or by project basis. We have clients inside of Agency U who have tripled their package cost because their offer is outcome driven. They've been able to provide clear value to their clients. Then when it comes to what we're selling and how we're looking at it, the product is not you as a freelancer because you're building your skill set and you're selling your skill set when you first start as a freelancer. The product is the system. It's not your skill set. It's not the deliverable. It's how you're getting your clients to the outcome. And then once you define that process, it's a lot easier to scale. It's a lot easier to fulfill it. It's a lot easier to create systems around it. It's a lot easier to follow a process that gets clients to the outcome and charge more, because all you need to do is just follow the system. And last but not least, the agency dictate. What we want our offer to be as an agency, we want it to be a solution to the problem. We want our offer to be what our clients are coming for, and they're saying, hey, I want that thing because I've seen everything that you're doing. I see the wins. I see how you're positioning your offer. I see all the results that you're getting. I see how you're positioning your offer. I want that medicine. And by taking the medicine, basically following your offer, then they're getting the outcome, rather than dictating and positioning you basically as an order taker. So the second system that we want to hit on is going to be client acquisition. What do freelancers do when it comes to client acquisition? They're heavily relying on referrals and word of mouth. Again, because we have a skill set. Typically, we are just relying on our circle. We had somebody who just maybe wanted some work done and we started to say yes to it. And now they're referring some of their friends, which ultimately at the end of the day will dry up. They're dealing with cycles of feast and famine, meaning 1 month is really freaking good because I got a lot of referrals. A lot of people are suggesting people to me. I'm getting a lot of good deals as a result, but I have no idea where my next client's coming from. And that results in the next month really being dry because there's no real predictable way to actually get clients. Heavy personal network dependent, because they're selling their skill set. They're relying on people that already know them and people that know their skill set that can be referred to them or that can hopefully send them a referral for what they are actually offering to people. And for me, like, this was how I scaled my business, was very heavily on the personal network to start, which really is a draining and again, a very unscalable way to scale the business. We're also doing all the selling. We don't have anybody that's helping us. We're basically selling our services, which is really hard to do because if we don't have an offer, then it becomes really challenging to sell. There's no follow-up systems. We're waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, I talked to this person and they said that they need something. I need to remind myself to actually follow up with that person, or I had this conversation with this person, but nothing's documented anywhere and I have no system to actually keep track of my follow-ups. And that's typically what I felt like as a freelancer and likely what you're feeling like. And lastly, your proposals are basically just tasks. We're gonna cross our fingers that they say yes to all of the tasks, and the tasks that we're presenting them justify what we want to offer them. Now let's talk about that 100K a month agency. When it comes to client acquisition for $100,000 a month agency, we have automated lead gen, so predictable leads. One of the best indicators of success is how full your pipeline is going to be. I always say the more that you can predict your leads, the more that you'll be able to grow your business, because leads are the lifeblood of your business. There should never be an issue with having too many leads if you are setting up your agency correctly. We are scalable beyond our network. It's one thing to build your business based off of your network, but it's another thing to be able to work with people who have no idea who you are and have a client acquisition system in place so that you can actually work with people who are completely cold and get them to being red hot and saying, shut up and take my money. There's a big difference, and we want to be able to scale beyond our network. And how do we create marketing? How do we create a client acquisition system that allows us to work with people who are completely cold and get them from cold to sold? We have a team handling the sales process. A lot of people at the freelance level grossly underestimate the amount of volume and the amount of touches and the amount of processes needed to scale to $100,000 per month inside of your agency. It's not something that you can just wait for a bunch of referrals to come. You need a team of appointment setters, of sales assistants to be able to assist you in actually scaling so that you're making sure you're hitting the volume in order to actually get to $100,000 per month. And it cannot be done by just you. So building a team around you that can make the volume of touches required to scale to $100,000 per month, because there's absolutely no way that you could do that on your own. This would be a full-time team helping you out. You have an automated nurture process, so automated follow-ups. So no longer are you waking up in the middle of the night saying, oh my gosh, I forgot I talked to this person and I need to follow up with this person. Now you have an automated way to nurture your customers, and you have a way to stay in front of them and be omnipresent so that when they do think about the outcome, the offer that you've presented them, that they're in fact going to think about you. And then last but not least, your proposals are transformations. No longer are we selling deliverables, we're selling the outcomes. We're selling how the life after working with you guys is going to be for the customers. We're selling how we're going to get them the outcome that we're promising, not just a bunch of deliverables, because people buy into the outcomes, they don't buy into the deliverables. And for us guys, what we teach a lot is the authority funnel, which is really simple. All we're really doing is we have a DM ad, and for the DM ad, what we're doing is we're driving that to our Instagram, and from the Instagram, what we're doing is we're setting the appointments, and once we set the appointments, these go on our sales calendar, and we're able to close directly from there. And this DM funnel is on Instagram, which allows us to be able to position ourselves as an authority, automate the leads into a tracking system, make it really easy to follow up. And then we also have the calls booked on a calendar, which are organized business CRM, making it really easy for our team to follow up with people because we have all the leads and all the sales calls booked, tracked, and in our CRM so that we're able to see everything and have a big picture of how we're actually doing from a client acquisition perspective. All right, so the next thing that we need to hit on is op. When it comes to operations, what is a freelancer doing? And for a freelancer, and myself included, everything is in our head. We're using things like Google Docs or our notes section or basically inefficient ways to scale processes. And we're writing things down personally in a really unscalable way. We're reacting throughout our day-to-day. So we're reacting to clients needing something. We're reacting to clients wanting to check on the status of something. We're reacting to, oh, this project is being late, rather than actually getting ahead of it and having a system that plants everything literally in front of you. You're quality controlling everything. So if you do have like an editor, most of your time is spent just sorting through videos, looking at videos, making sure everything is good, and it is bottlenecking you when you should be focusing on the business activities. And because you're doing client custom work, you have client specific processes. Because this person is doing a website, because this person is doing SEO, I remember we would close all these custom deals all the time, and I would have to sit there and write this whole process of how to do something so that I could delegate it off to somebody, and I fully didn't understand it because I was just saying yes to everything at the end of the day. So what does a $100,000 a month operation actually look like? Well, first things first is we have SOPs. That stands for standard operating processes. And what SOPs are basically taking what's in your brain and document it into a process for somebody else to follow. If you remember what I said earlier, your product is basically a system. And all we really need to do with our operations is start to build the trainings so that eventually we can plug people in to work the systems that we've built. And if we don't have SOPs documented, it's going to be really hard to plug somebody in to actually work the system for you. We have a central operating system. So something that we call a agency operating system or agency operating system, which we offer to our members. If you don't have a central database with everything and everything is scattered around Google Docs and 5 different softwares and the notes are extremely random and hard for you to find, it's going to be really hard to, again, to scale, build a team, plug somebody in. We built what we call the agency operating system, which basically has everything that you need in order to document your processes and make sure that projects are getting done efficiently and on time, and then storing everything literally in a central location so that you actually have the infrastructure to scale. Your onboarding is automated. The moment a client says yes is the moment that they have buyer's remorse. So we want to make sure that our onboarding process is not hectic. When I first was scaling up, we would basically sign a new client and it'd be like, oh, what do we do? Oh my gosh, there's so many different tasks to be chaotic. And it wasn't until we started automating the onboarding process, we started setting better client expectations, we started to avoid scope creep, and we provided an elite client experience so that they stayed with us longer, recommended us, and ultimately we were able to set boundaries and avoid all that scope creep issues, and we would get compliments on it all of the time. We have repeatable workflows. Again, going back to the offer, if our offer is repeatable, it's really easy to build an operation around our offer because that just needs to be repeatable. And because we've created what we call our steps, desired outcomes, all we need to do is build a repeatable system around it so that we can plug people in to actually work that specific system, which at the end of the day is going to be so much easier for yourself, for your team, and ultimately provide a consistent, clear, amazing client experience for the people that would decide to work with you. And at the end of the day, this is going to provide consistency across the board because all you're really doing is you're plugging people into the system. I always say systems run the business, people run the systems. And if you can have a system that creates consistency from your offer, that's what you get to plug people in there and you just get to train the people on the actual system. And if they work the system, then it's going to be a consistent client experience to get your clients to the outcomes, assuming that your offer is outcome driven. And it makes it really easy for you to provide a business that's very valuable to the customer and easy for you to step away from because you have all of the things in place in your operation that allow you to do that. When it comes to ops, the freelancer is the system, but the agency owner at $100,000 a month has systems and builds systems so that they can plug people in to work the systems. The next and final system that we need to talk about is going to be talent acquisition is essentially your team, who makes it happen, who runs the ship while you're not there. So freelancers, of course, they do everything because you have the skill set and it's really hard to train people because you don't have time to do it, first of all, and then 2, you're really good, so you don't want to train anybody because nobody's going to be as good as you. That is the mindset of the freelancer, and you end up just doing everything yourself. Number 2, you hire out of desperation. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I need somebody to help me out, and I'm going to hire reactively out of desperation because I need this editor. I need to get this edit out if I need to make this due date for this specific client, otherwise they're gonna fire me. That is the mindset of the freelancer. They have random contractors who are also freelancers, and guess what? They're also trying to grow their own business, so they're not really reliable, and it actually takes more time from you because you have to manage them and you have to train them. Ends up also hitting into your margin because it's taking a lot of time because you're basically contracting something out. That is the mindset of a freelancer. You have no training in place because you're the best at what you do. You can't train anybody on how you do it because you are the best, and there's no way somebody will understand. I don't have the time even to create training processes in place that there's no way I could train somebody to be as good as me, and my clients would never accept that if I'm actually scaling. That is the mindset of a freelancer. You micromanage. Oh my gosh, myself included. I was so scared that what I was going to hand off to somebody else would not be good. And I would micromanage really to supplement the fact that I had no processes or trainings in place. And I would make sure that they did everything correctly. I would hover over people's shoulders. I would check in constantly. And that's all a result of me lacking systems and me not actually creating appropriate processes in place to actually plug somebody into work the processes that I've created. That's the mindset of a freelancer. Let's talk about a $100,000 a month agency. We have clear roles. What are the KPIs of people? What does the team look like based off of the offer? How do I plug somebody in to do that? And what are the expectations and KPIs for that specific role? One of the most underrated things that's really nobody talks about in the agency space is the power of having a really freaking good job description with really clear roles and really clear KPIs. It's boring, but this is how you measure your team and make sure that they work up to the expectations that you expect of them. You have a structured onboarding. The moment you onboard a team member is the moment they question, should I work for this company? Are these people actually legit? So what we need to do is we need to treat our team onboarding process just how we treat our client onboarding process, because they, at the end of the day, are the $100,000 a month agency. They're the ones that are actually going to be running the agency. You hire A players. Hire A players, you coach up A players because you have a structured process, because you have clear defined roles, because you have everything in place to actually build them up. You don't just hire random people. You hire people who are bought into the mission, bought into the vision, bought into you as a founder, bought into where the company is going, and you are building them up based off of the structures that you've created, the operations, the systems, the offer, and you're plugging them in and you're building them up to become leaders at your organization. That is how we build A players up. We have team management. I mean, the first person that I ever hired at my agency was a contract videographer, and I remember saying to him, hey dude, I see a lot in you. Eventually what you're going to do is you're going to lead the creative department. We grew. He had that vision planted inside of his head, and he became creative director at that company. Same thing for you when you hire somebody is who on your team when you're hiring them can be built up into managing. There's gold in everybody that we hire, assuming that we're hiring correctly, and we want to have that be planted in them, because eventually if you do need to hire more editors, you shouldn't be, as a founder, hiring more editors. You should be working on actually growing the business. Your team should be doing that. And if you're not planting that in their head, and if they're just a bunch of deliverablers, then they'll never rise up to the leadership that you plant inside of them. And then lastly, I've emphasized this quite a bit, is going to be a growth plan. People don't buy into a role. They don't buy into a task. What they buy into is they buy into the vision, purpose over paycheck. I mean, people care about the paycheck, but where people are going to be bought into your business and stay with you for a really long time is the purpose of why they're doing what they're doing and the vision of where they're going. People think about themselves, so the more that we can create growth plans for people that we're hiring and see them again as having a huge trajectory at the company, the more they will rise up to that occasion and become leaders within your company. The journey from freelancer isn't just about going from a freelancer to an agency owner or just making more money. It's about creating freedom and creating a business that you run and that doesn't run you. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, what is it that I need to do? First things first, we need to productize our offer. We need to come up with a way to get predictable clients. We need to have a systems in place, and we need to think with the team in mind. And we've packaged these exact systems inside of our Agency U operating system, which you can get by clicking the link down below. And if you want us to install these systems for you and want my help one-to-one and our team's help to get these installed inside of your agency so you can go from being a freelancer to an actual $100,000 a month agency, you can click the link down below to book a call and check out some of our case studies of people who are just crushing it doing this inside of their business. And if this was helpful, hit like and subscribe, and drop a comment down below if you are a freelancer of what pillar was most helpful for you, and I will personally reply to you as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.